Well, hello there, everyone. I know that you have started your leadership training, and no leadership training would be complete without some insights or wisdom from yours truly. um, so, I wanted to share with you guys some ideas that, for me, are the core of what it means to be a leader. And so take some notes, and I'm just going to try to keep it simple and short and sweet so that you can remember the key points and start putting it into practice. I would say that the number one thing that a leader should have is control of their own energy, mastery, if you will, and so having high energy as well as a centeredness. So high energy doesn't mean hyper energy. It just means that you're in good spirits, you're happy, you're positive, because people know what it's like to be around a leader that's negative or in low energy. So that's what I mean when I say high energy. And when we talk about the organization being a level 10 energy, what we mean is that as long as everyone is performing and doing their jobs and they care about their work, we want it to be a happy, positive place, and everyone should feel like they're home. So how do you create an environment as a leader that makes people feel happy and positive and level 10 and like they're home, unless you as a leader are centered and home? And you hear me talk about being in your heart and being present, and there's a reason for all that, because it's very difficult as a leader to be centered and to be in your home if you're in your mind and thinking about all kinds of things when you're trying to be present with the people that you're leading and with the people that you're trying to help, and they don't feel like you're there, or they feel like your energy is coming from a place that's lower or negative. So coming from high energy, coming from centeredness, coming from care and love and supporting the people around you, this is something that's very difficult to train. It's just something you have to naturally care about and want to do. And then it's something that you can arrive at through being present. Remember, I'm right here, right now. And breathing, your breath is always present. Your body's always present. Your heart is always present. And so one of the tricks that I have to get the mind to get into the now is just use two basic labels when you're thinking about something or whatever, and say, is it not now or now? So in other words, take anything in your life that you're thinking about, or anything in your life that might have come up or might be in your mind, and be like, is that a not now or a now? Because if it's a not now, is that something I want to dwell on too long? If it's a now, then at least I know I'm being present. So use that little trick to know if it's a not now or a now. Another way to get present is to imagine that I just woke up. So imagine, that time when you just wake up in the morning and it's like, you just woke up, it's beautiful, maybe birds are chirping and it's beautiful, or that there's that momentary window between when you wake up and you start getting into your day. Maybe you check your phone or you check your email. Don't do that, because that'll set your energy off. But what I'm talking about is that space between when you just woke up and now you're trying to make sense of your life and what's going on that day and what you have to do. If you can do that several times through the day, like now, imagine you just woke up and look around you. And everything you hear and everything you see, and it's just a brand new day and a brand new moment. You just woke up. That can bring you into presence and centeredness really fast. Another thing that you can do when you're talking with each other is you can say, new moment. If a conversation starts getting off track or not relevant, or people are talking about a not now situation like in the past, learn the lesson from it. What could we learn from it now? That gets you into the now. What could we learn from that situation? Okay. And then use this term all the time when you guys are ready to get back into the present. Say, new moment. So, for example, if somebody starts, and you can take this home with you and use it in your family life and your relationships. You know, if someone likes to dwell on something from the past, you could be like, okay, what did we learn from that? And new moment, it's a new moment right now. And then if everybody's in on the game and they agree to it, then when someone says new moment, then it means, okay, time to move on. It's a new moment. And here we are. It's a new moment. And then some people play this game like continuously. New moment, new moment. Like now's a new moment, new moment. So these are some ways as a leader that you can get more grounded, more centered, more focused in the present, which is where all the execution happens. So it's being centered and present and high energy as a leader. That's where I think all great leadership starts. And especially in times of trials or like challenges and crisis, to be able to stay present and to be in that state of centeredness is where you're going to continue to maintain a certain power. That is what people want to follow. They feel like there's a strength there, something that they can trust, a centeredness there. And if you continually bring yourself into presence and this new moment, or I just woke up and I'm being present to the situation now, then just doing that, starting with presence, is going to make you a leader of that movement into presence. Because the only time people freak out or look for someone to be a leader is when times are uncertain or when tasks are uncertain. So as long as you're certain about yourself and your presence and the energy that we're trying to create as a company, that's where it all begins. So from there, that's number one. So that's point number one, presence. From there we go into performance. Okay, and so as long as, remember, number one is presence. As long as you're coming from the presence and the centeredness. The second major tip is performance, being a high performance team, because it's one thing to come from that centered energy and presence, but if that's all we did all day long, a phone call would come in and you'd be like, I'm home, I'm not going to answer that call. Or, you know, somebody comes in and be like, I can't deal with your situation right now, we're going to just be present, you know. So performance is the second major thing, and performance is having the right people, the right processes, the right tools, and ultimately the right mindset about how you're going to help your team and help yourself perform. So let me just touch on those briefly. The right people starts with the recruiting process. So as a leader, if you're getting new people on your team, you want to make sure that they're up to speed on the presence thing, coming from the heart, being mindful, the meditations, you know, the heart clearing work that is available on heartclearing.org, the breathing work. I think if you have a very centered team, it's going to be much easier to perform. So start with that in your people, getting them on number one, the presence. And then secondly, if you have high energy people that are happy and positive, it's going to be way easier to maintain that high energy and that happiness and that sense of feeling home within your team if someone has a good attitude, good positive energy, versus someone who's negative or very ego. So as a leader, you want to be able to give feedback to HR or to recruiting and say, I'm happy with these people, but these people, I'm going to try to work with them to raise their energy. But if it's not working, if they don't want to, if they don't care to, then we need to find the right people, because we're creating a high energy, positive culture. So it really does start with the people. And once we have that from our people, the next thing is the processes that we put in place. Now, this is where most companies usually focus right away, but I just spent the majority of the last 9 minutes talking about how important it is for the energy and the presence to be right within yourself and within the people that you work with before we start focusing on the processes. Now, the processes are where the rubber meets the road in terms of our energy and who we are as an organization and the work that we must do. So the processes are the step-by-step actions that you're expecting your team to take. And it should be very, very clear. The roles and the expectations of your team for high performance need to be very clear. And when you think about or you create processes, it should be so easy that a 5-year-old could understand it. And this is the part that gets most people, because as a leader, you think, I know it's so easy for me that these are the things that they should be doing. I shouldn't have to write it down and put it into steps. But remember, if you put down the step-by-step processes one time and it's crystal clear, in the future when you bring new people on, or even other people that aren't following the process you know they should, you've only needed to do it one time. Although you might tweak and update it, but once you do it one time, you can say, here's the process. It's so easy that my 5-year-old niece, my 5-year-old nephew knows the process. Is it because it's not clear enough? Because it's crystal clear? Or is it because you don't care that you're not following the process? And then it becomes very easy to sort out the 3 C's, okay? When you're trying to get better performance out of your team. Number one, if you've got something very clear, it's either they don't care, okay? Because if it's very clear, then you know you have a care issue. They just don't care to follow it. They just don't care to do it. You got to find out. You got to dig in and find out why they don't care to do it, okay? The second thing is, if it's all there and it's very clear, then they're just not competent to do it. And that's an issue too, right? If they care, but they're not competent, that means they can't do it. Either they need more training or they just don't have the ability to do it. That would be like, for example, if somebody doesn't speak good English, and our process is that, you need to get on the phone and talk and communicate clearly to this client, but they're unable to, that's a competency issue. And then the third C is, if someone cares and they are competent, then it means that your process is not clear. You have not clearly communicated what they need to do in order to take that care and that competency and do it in the way that you want it done, or do it in the way that the organization needs it done. So the last piece is to make your process more clear. All right, so far we've talked about presence, and then we've talked about how to get to a high performance team, and that is making sure that you have people that care, making sure that you have people that are competent, and then making sure that you as a leader have created clear processes for them to follow so that they can execute at a high level. So that's number 2. And then the last piece is the profit piece. And the profit piece, so we've got presence, performance, and profit. The profit is what sustains us as a business. It's as a business, if we're high performing, we're profiting. But I want to talk about more than just the financial profits. If we're doing everything that we can as an organization, then naturally profits are going to flow out of that, and we're going to be successful and sustainable as a company. The kind of profits that I'm also talking about are the returns on your life, on your lifestyle, on your energy, and maybe the returns that we're able to create in the community and the impact around us. So the kind of profits that I want you to focus on first is, what can we do to create a level 10 environment? When we're present, when we're performing as an organization, we will have some financial profits, hopefully good financial profits, that we can then also look at reinvesting into making Full Potential Fridays better, doing more of these leadership things and making them better. And then once we've really made our environment and our workspace amazing, then we can start expanding out into, let's say, making the building in the local area amazing. And then if that's getting to be a level 10 like around us and getting participation from others around us and creating this amazing environment around us, we can keep expanding out from that. And that's the kind of profit that I think as an organization we should be looking at, creating a more positive impact, starting with ourselves, then expanding to our teams, then expanding to the organization, then looking at opportunities to expand that into the local community, even if it's small changes that are increasing the level of energy and satisfaction and enjoyment of the environment around you, even if it's just you being happier and more positive and more smiling and bringing positive energy to the people around you when you go down to the local stores, or you just interact with people outside the organization. So that's a profit, right? And if you're happy with your level of presence and your centeredness, and you're happy with your performance and your team's performance, and the company is overall growing and progressing, there's no reason why we can't spread that happiness and positivity and create an even greater profit for the community and the environment and everything around us. And I think if we start thinking like that and shift our focus to how can we add more value, once we've got so much value in our own lives And once the company has so much value that it's generating by virtue of being this leadership and creating this great energy and performing at a good level, what kind of value can we keep on adding, because we don't want it to stop? We want to challenge ourselves to keep adding value as much as possible. And that's, I think, if everyone around the world did that, if all the organizations and the companies around the world did that, that's true leadership. That's a company that is leading the way to a better planet and a better world. So, hope this is helpful to you guys, and wish I could be there with you, to be present right here, right now. We just woke up together. Just woke up and you're watching this video. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me and ask me any questions on how to keep implementing this stuff. But the great news is that in 15 minutes I was able to convey a lot in terms of what makes great leadership, and you can just watch this video again and again and really instill some of those principles. And then as you guys do more of these trainings, I'll share with you more insights and wisdom that I feel would be very helpful on your journeys. I want you to know I'm very appreciative of you and everything that you're doing, and that we are part of a bigger mission together to do everything that I just said. Once we're present and performing as a company and profiting sustainably as we are, we want to continue, and I am continuing this work in my own way, and I'm looking to you as leaders to continue this work of profiting in a bigger way around the world, starting with the local community right there where you are, starting with your families. So we're on a mission together to make the world a better place, and it starts at home. It starts at home. All right, thank you guys. Have a good rest of your leadership training, and I look forward to seeing you soon.